Hi, I'm Laurie Wheeler of Wellness Within, and I'm here today to bring August's monthly insights. So the theme of this particular month and upcoming energy of weeks and months to come is there's still a lot of work to be done. And this month is actually marking it's ushering in a new energy, and it's a time that it's ending an old energy. One of the aspects of this and still coming forward and coming to a height is that we are going to be changing the way we live. So in other words, many of us, especially in the U.S., we live in our own individual dwelling, or you may live in an apartment, or whatever that may look like. But our communities or communities will be cropping up all over the place. And so this is going to take hold and affect the housing market, actually. And this is very good because in the U.S. especially, but in third density, or what you understand to be dimension, but it is a density, there exists very much the I. It's a coming in and learning what the I is all about. But now, for many years, we have learned what this is. We've come into ourselves, and it is now time to move into a different way of thinking when we think outside of ourselves and we are connected to all. And so this is going to have a great effect in the way we live, actually. So it's going to affect the housing market. It will take time for this to instill and take hold. But this is where we're moving into. And it's interesting because I've had vision of this for some years now. And now I can see that things will begin to shift this way. Our currencies, as you can see, are fluctuating and will continue to fluctuate. And they are affecting our pocketbooks quite heavily as inflation is rising. And it will continue to rise. Some who have financial gains will continue to have those financial gains, but it will begin to trend and then it will level. So that what was told to me is that the way it feels very uneven and difficult, it will eventually level itself out. We will not be in this turmoil forever. And forever is a long time, but for a very, very long time. It will definitely level out. But this is important as we're making or adjusting or creating new. The old, we have to let it go, and so it's going to create a lot of chaos. Crops, our food, are going to take a big dive. Actually, a few months ago, I was privy to see a 15-second snippet video of, oh my gosh, I don't even know how large it was, maybe 1,000 square feet, maybe 2,000 square feet, of just avocados rotting on the ground. So that says to me the crops are being held back in a way. And I'm not quite sure if I completely understand all the goings on, but this really brought about the fact that this is what's happening out there. So the food industry is in a flux also, as we know, especially in these last months. We can feel it, and it'll be like that for a while until new begins to take shape, and it will take shape. One thing I want to mention, and this is a study that was done a long time ago, is that when everything is in chaos. So for example, when you have a traffic jam and nobody can move, it's just completely a traffic jam. It takes one person to just make a little bit of movement, and then it allows for others to begin to take a movement. And so it will begin to change. And this has been proven, and it will also be in our world as almost like a paralysis or such difficulty, and then it will begin to shift, or as it is shifting now. So a lot of patience is really needed, and I know that's really hard to ask, to have the patience to walk through all of this. I want to remind everyone and myself that we chose to be here at this time to undergo this particular happening for the collective, for the world, and for our own learning experience. So this is very important, and this is allowing healing to take place. So another aspect that I've been given information about is our health organizations are actually losing credibility. And in this is actually for the wiser, because we have been very misled and actually harm has been done to us. And so this is important as this is taking place, but it also has much purpose and reason behind it. So soon there is going to be a new catalyst will actually usher in and bring an adjustment to the way we do and think about health. And so maybe you actually have been on the internet, or you've listened to people speaking about energy and how that affects our health. And so part of this is this new ushering in, this new understanding for us to take care of our bodies, how our bodies function. It's more about the fact that we are energy, and so in order to heal, we need that which can match it to help us heal. So there'll be more in the future about this. I'll be speaking about this. And our economics of life is changing as we know it. It's shaping into more what will be necessary for us and a more sustainable way for us. Because right now, you know, it's kind of like resting on eggshells and can crack and break, and that is not good for any of us. So we need something more solid, something much more substantial. And also there are those that are in control. And coming into the new, where we're moving forward to, this cannot remain this way. It doesn't function at that level of frequency. But this changing, as we as humans do not like change. So this is going to cause panic and fear amongst many people. And they are the ones that do not understand. So if we can help them understand, but not push, understand that this is all necessary, and that if they don't operate from the fear and panic, if they can operate from much more balance, it will be healthier for them physically, but they will also begin to see that the change is moving in a positive direction. So this month and the months to come, expect the unexpected, at least for a few months and longer. But this, we need to also learn how to move with this flow. So this past month, I was away for a few days, and I was actually kayaking. And what's interesting, I love the way water flows and how much it can really teach us. So you can go along in nice calm waters, and it feels really good and it's peaceful. And then you can get to some white water, and you've got to figure, and not figure with your brain so much, but figure how are you going to make it through that movement. And so there were a few of them, and as we came to them, your first or my first reaction was, uh-oh, and then it's like, go with the flow. So, and I talk about this in my book, Oh No, Not Another Learning Experience, because this is where I really began to understand about flow in such a way that life teaches us. And we have these opportunities to learn this. So when that uh-oh moment comes, it's pretty, we're pretty reactionary. But it's also like, go with it, move with it. And so we've got to learn how to move with these times, because they are like this, actually much higher. And we have to learn how to navigate this. And this is very important, because this next year and a half at least is going to be probably getting maybe more intense as time goes on, I want to say. So we have to prepare for that, and we have to remain as calm as we can so that we can connect with our higher self to hear what to do, because in times that are unprecedented, there's no handbook or rule book that says, well, this is what you do with it. We have to figure that out, and that's why being connected to your high self, clearing away that which blocks you from hearing, is very important. So I asked about the economics. How is this going to help us? And I was given the understanding of economics is a complex dynamics, and it's based on many structures, actually. And it's helping us, these rocky road times are helping us to prepare for these changes. And so this is how we do this. We connect, we hear, and we follow. We take action. So we have to prepare. And so what is prepare? So it's like this. You wouldn't just walk out into the middle of traffic. Why? Because we know that's not a good thing to do. So we have to think of this in a very similar way. We have to remember that there are things that we should do and things that we shouldn't do. But for that which we don't know what to do, it's good to have a pulse of what is happening in the world, but it is also very important for you to know uniquely for yourself what you want and desire to do. And that's uniquely yours. So over 2.5 years ago, before COVID ever came out and we began to shift, I was told about preparing for what was coming, because there were big changes coming. And economically, I was told, again, and this is in another video on YouTube, that the stock market will crash, and that the Federal Reserve is going to change, is going to fall away. And so that we must prepare for a new value system to come in, that the gains and the losses eventually will even out, but not until our world comes up with a new value, so to speak. And we're in a time right now, actually these last few years have been a time where we are gaining ground on this. But I'll go back even to 9/11 in 2001. I remember asking, what was this all about? And my information that came through to me was, now if you remember the Twin Towers coming down, well, the Twin Towers are sort of a central point, a vortex, so to speak, of monetary value. And so we are in a change now of monetary value. But what is below that even is value of everything. And so the time that we spent in lockdown, and as things are changing, we're coming to learn what new value we want to replace it with. And it's going to take a worldly effort for this to shift. And so we're still in this process. So I understand that a new or different type of source of money economic value system is coming in the next couple years, within the next couple years. And also, in a new health series is being laid out before us, because there has been a given to the people in general worldwide what's called a false prophet. So when it's been held as the medical society having all the answers or answers for our medical problems, now this is changing, and it will actually, some will actually pass away because they still buy into the old framework of our health way of doing things, of taking care of ourselves, and it will be helpful actually for others. So the door is opening now, and it is becoming fast and furious, I say, as the information begins to come in and more people wake up and kind of get tickled and get on board with this, the understanding of energy. And we're ushering in this new healthcare, and it will help us grow in our understanding of how to heal our bodies. So the concept of energy, even Einstein said this, we have to find a different way than the old way. And so, you know, when you, and I'm sorry if I'm kind of blunt and maybe it doesn't even sound very well, but you know, where we take things out and we replace them, or we sew them up, or we surgically take care of things. Energy, the new understanding of health, will be from the understanding of energy, and that we are all energy, and that this will be the way we need to take care of ourselves in a different frequency. So it's very barbaric if you kind of think in the way we do things now, where we cut things off and fix them that way and sew things up. This will be different, and so this is the time we're ushering in. This, of course, is not going to take control or take place in the next month. This is what's coming in and becoming apparent to us. So the table of life, I'll say, will be flipped over, and all the pieces are going to be laid out in front of us. They're going to be sort of set before us. And that we will begin to be able to really look at everything and make decisions on what we see. Right now there is much still being hidden, but when that table flips, it will be right in front of us. And so we look at it and we choose wisely in order to move forward. So in the times and what's coming, as we've not reached the peak yet, but you can feel it as it's amping up and moving, there will be hostility, more and more hostility amongst the world, and as things are changing and things become more apparent. What will happen is that as they do become apparent, people are going to become more angry about that which has been hidden, that which has been kept from us. And it's going to come out in a lot of different ways, and I'm not going to talk about what those particular ways are, but some of it can be quite frightening and devastating to people, and it will be very difficult for people to wrap your mind around it. But this is all about peeling back the cover and allowing that to come forward and show itself. But remember, exercise your choice making wisely. Many will actually rebel, and those who rebel will want to take because they don't have much. So be mindful of this, and what you have, you may have to protect yourself. And this will be over the next 6 months that this begins to really show up and amp up. And more predominantly in the winter months to come. So there are many that are still leaving the planet, that are passing on. They choose not to stay with us and remain to do the work. They will do the work in the between time, or they'll come back to do the work again, or move on where they choose. But there are those that are still waking up, and there are many that are coming into service. And so there will be a lot of help available for those that are having difficulty in understanding what this is all about, and it will be difficult for the brain to make sense of it all. So like I just spoke of a few minutes ago, it's best to try to stay out of the brain's thinking, because the brain is like the computer. It only has information of what's been input. So we'll need to come from another understanding and hear that. And I will continue to put information out as to what is coming and how to handle this in the upcoming YouTube opportunities. So most importantly with all of this, we need to remember not to judge. Judging is probably one of the most difficult human things not to do. And we are getting such a great lesson in learning how not to do this, but we cannot take judgment into the next densities that we're moving into, because it doesn't exist there. Our whole being will not exist in judgment. And so this is why this is all up right now for us. And the greatest thing is, if you find yourself judging, as I do myself from time to time, I just close my eyes, take a deep breath in, remember this is a judgment thought, and to just let go. So this month there is a gateway opening, and it will produce a lot of clarity and guidance for us. So more of that coming in for us. And if you are an awakened soul, as I'm assuming you are if you're listening to this, just bring that energy in, ask it to come in, ask to receive it, ask it to connect with your DNA, ask it to up-level and illuminate you into this. I'm actually doing a retreat in Mount Shasta coming up the 9th through the 11th of September. So if you're interested, you can go to my website and check it out at wellnesswithin.net under events. And also doing an event with a wonderful astrologer. We'll be sharing it together, and he'll be bringing his information, and it's called Experience the Sounds of the Soul. And for us to understand what this is all about, and about the soul, and understanding what the soul really is, and who we are, and the energy of the soul, and the desires of the soul, and how that works within and adjusts within frequencies. And so, and I spoke last month that I'm working with a scientist right now in how frequency affects our DNA. So all of this has kind of come to my world now, and I think it's really fascinating to watch how the pieces come when I'm intrigued by something, when I'm wanting to know more about something. And the same can happen for you. So just keep putting your energy of what you desire out there, and it makes its way in. So with this gateway opening, some are or have been connecting to their old ancestry, their heritage, and clearing what I call their story. And so we all have a story. Every single human being that walks the earth has a story. And so we are either in a time where we're having the ability to clear our stories or adjust our stories, or creating a new story. What was the old? let's shift it now. We have not only the opportunity, but we have the capability. So when you find yourself connecting to your old story, the way things were, the way you know that you have blocks, thank it. It brought what it needed, and then blow it away. Don't let it take the energy and the power that you give it. Allow it to pass by. So with this door opening and this new, as this gateway opens and it ushers in some new opportunities, it's adjusting our frequencies, and some are in flux right now and do not know which way to turn. There are many actually that I've spoken with, either through my practice or, as you know, I do a lot of conferences and speaking, and I get an opportunity to hear what's going on out there, as maybe many of you don't or are not hearing. But I can tell you there are many that are waking up, which feels very good. But we're all at different levels of this waking up, and that's according to who we are as a soul and what we've come to do in this time. But as we are, and there are many that are in this flux, we have to, again, have patience and know that they're finding their way, and that they're maybe needing to connect with us just to have an ear. Maybe not to even give them any information, but just to listen to them. That's some of the best medicine we can offer for people, is lend an ear and just listen. Because some people just don't have many people to talk to, and they need to unleash and unburden themselves. But the gateway opening and the other gateways are helping with this. And the light that's coming in is helping also. So the Lemurians and the Atlanteans had these times also, these difficult times, only in a different way, because their structure and paradigm of their world as beings were different than what we're in right now as human beings. And the interdimensionals were helping them. And the reason the interdimensionals are so greatly helpful and many guides is because they have been in our shoes, so to speak. They understand, as they have raised their frequency and moved into a new paradigm and moved into new densities, out of third density, moving into fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8, 9, maybe even some that you connect with 10, 11, 12. Wherever they're coming from, they have experienced, even if it was long ago. They understand. They're here to help. They want us to call on them. Call them. Ask for help. And it's important because they know what we've been through, and they know how to help us, and they know how to guide us. The other thing that's very important, I hear, is to know your heritage, your place of origin. Now, many of us are what I call hybrid. We're mutts, so to speak, of different dimension and species. And so some of them you know or may be familiar with: Pleiadians, Sirians, Orions, Arcturians, Andromedans, and there's a whole host of so many others, maybe even reptilian and gray in there. We don't really know. But if you find out who you are, as I have, and I've helped many find this information, this is so important to know your origin. Because just like in humanity, if you're Native American or you're Japanese or you're African American, wherever you come from, your heritage plays a big role in who you are. You bring that in, you carry that within your spiritual DNA. And so what does that have to do with who you are, how you show up in this world today? I can tell you, when I really learned about my heritage, about my place of origins, understanding this helped me to know more about my mission and what I'm doing here and why I am the way I am and why you are the way you are. And we all really have that burning desire to know this. We want to know. That's why we have things that check into our DNA, sources that help us find out our origin. So many people want to know this. Well, who are you in the cosmos? Where did you come from? So if you're desiring to know this, this is also something I can help you with. And I can tell you one of the very, very best opportunities that we have right now is to learn who we are within ourselves, to connect with our higher self, because this is the part of us that is connected to all of consciousness and remains always connected at every moment, always has and always will. It's the part of you as the spirit, and that is connected to everything on earth, outside of earth, all of the cosmos. But when you know who you are, who you really are, the magnificent soul that you are without your illusions, without the baggage and the blocks and things that we've picked up along the way in our incarnations and through society and such that tells us these things. When you don't have them and you are just connected to that which you really are, everyone says, everyone that comes out of a regression that has connected says, wow, that was not what I thought. That was amazing. And so that's what I want to help deliver to each and every person, who you really are, because once you know that, you want more of that. You want to know who you are, and you strive to be that, because then you know you're not what those blocks really run through your mind all the time. So I'm going to do another YouTube about this and talk a little more about this in the upcoming time. But I really wanted to share this with you. And so if you're interested in finding out this information, anything that I've spoke about, I channel, obviously. I channel many different beings, many interdimensionals. I've had many opportunities to be with them. And I will share more of that another time. But the learning of this information that I've shared in today's YouTube would be fascinating and so helpful. So if you're really desiring this, let me know. You can find me at Laurie, Laurie, at wellnesswithin.net. That's my email. Or wellnesswithin.net, which is my website, and you can read more about the different modalities. And I'm going to do an upcoming series about each one of the modalities I work with and really talk specifically about them. I think it's interesting to really know about how energy works and functions and